Hi, let me start off by saying this is the first time that I've ever done a video like this before that I plan on uploading on YouTube for anybody to watch. So I hope this goes as well for me as it does for anybody who actually decides to watch this. Basically, I'm just going to talk about Silent Hill Downpour. You know, the new Silent Hill game that came out last month that's seen quite a bit of controversy in terms of rating from fans, online databases, criticism, all that. I'm just gonna throw my opinion out there and put my head in the ring and whatnot. And the first thing that I want to say is I legitimately enjoyed the game. It was a fun game. I mean, surely enough, it wasn't that scary. And I didn't really expect it to be, honestly. I haven't been scared of anything since, well, playing the old Silent Hill games when I was a kid, unless you count Fatal Frame. Fatal Frame still scares the crap out of me. And I didn't start playing Fatal Frame until 2 years ago, so I guess I can strike my last opinion. Anyway, back to what I was going to talk about. I liked Silent Hill Downpour. It was a fun game. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed most of the things about it, and I'm just gonna I'm gonna say that there were things that I hated, because I mean the game wasn't perfect. I'm gonna start off by saying I hated the way that Murphy was introduced to the town itself. I mean, the whole bus crash thing was just kind of lame, especially since it was done not once, but, you know, twice if you're following the Silent Hill quote-unquote canon. I mean, in the first game, Harry crashes his car because he sees Alessa, and for some reason that same thing happens in Origins, even though I'm going to disregard saying anything about Origins or Homecoming for that matter, because those games were not Silent Hill canon. If you follow the story of Silent Hill 1, everything in Origins contradicts that story, and Homecoming just didn't make much sense. So the fact that the bus crashes is how Murphy enters the town is kind of stupid, because I mean it's more or less it's the driver's fault for looking back and not paying attention to the road like a good bus driver would. Another thing that I didn't like about the game were actually some of the plot points in the story. Not the Silent Hill part of the story, where everything happens within Silent Hill. I actually enjoyed the town itself, except there were some parts that didn't make sense, like after Murphy falls from the top of the clock tower, the Continental Building, or whatever that was. I can never pronounce that word right. He wakes up on a bench. I mean, realistically, Silent Hill has never been able to take one person and transport it to another place, or him, not it. The town can take people away, just make them disappear. It can manifest them. It can do whatever else it wants to, but I've never, until Climax came and just kind of screwed everything to hell, there was never one instance where somebody just randomly got teleported. And you can't say that Silent Hill 4 did that, because Henry went through the hole, and the hole was his link to Walter's mind, which sort of broke the game flow, even though that was still sort of canon. I don't know. I'll debate that later. But the thing that I didn't like about the game's story, getting back to what I was talking about before, was basically it's all been done. Murder, hiding your feelings, hiding your thoughts, trying to cover it up, whatever Murphy was trying to do. It didn't really sound like he was trying to cover it up. He knew what he did all too well, which made even less sense why he had to redeem something, especially if he didn't even do it. The game's endings were shoddy at best, because they changed the entire game flow. I mean, in one ending, I'm not going to spoil it, never mind. It's just, if you played the endings, they changed the entire story, and it's kind of stupid. But I did like a lot of stuff about the game. I loved the town itself, like I said earlier. The town was huge, immersive, dark, atmospheric. The visuals for it were just... Everyone said that the game was really bland. I didn't see that. I saw instances where there were color. There were a lot of vibrant, rich textures and details and things that whenever people were complaining about it, I just didn't see it. I just didn't care to see it. And another thing, the biggest thing, is the thing that everybody complained about: the combat. The combat wasn't shitty. It wasn't even bad. People just don't know how to play games anymore, let alone survival horror games. They're used to playing Dead Space and Call of Duty, and of course I'm going to name Call of Duty, being a prick that I am, right? I mean, there used to be strategy in every single game ever created. You ever go play an old Mario game? You would have to time your jump perfectly, or you would be fucked. That's basically what happened in Downpour, but nobody could understand that, and the people who did understand that enjoyed it. Or maybe some people who understood it didn't like it, and that's okay, I guess. Just don't play the game if you don't like the combat. Whatever. It's none of my concern. But the combat was great. It took me 5 minutes with each monster on different encounters throughout the whole game to learn their attack patterns. Know when to attack, know when to dodge. It's not that hard. Hold the block button, which triangle, or would that be X on the 360? I have no idea. Just hold the triangle button until you see an open window to attack, and then just figure out when your attack windows are there, and then just do it around that. It's easy. And even then, the shooting. I liked the shooting mechanic in the game because I thought it was very realistic. I mean, in real life, if you see a crazy monster coming after you, you're probably not going to be able to just, look at me, I'm aiming perfectly fine. You're going to freak the fuck out and shoot all over the place. I guarantee it. Well, I can't really guarantee it because there are no such thing as monsters, to my knowledge. But, you know, the combat was great, easy. I can't say it was intuitive because it kind of wasn't. And earlier what I said about Dead Space did have some strategy into it, which was really cool because, you know, unlearning the headshot was the greatest thing that they've ever done, but I still can't consider Dead Space a survival horror game. It didn't scare me. Everything was too predictable. Well, at least with Dead Space 2. I mean, I was already used to playing Dead Space when Dead Space 2 came out, so away from this, I tend to linger. Sorry, I don't think I have ADD, but the music in Silent Hill Downpour was also fantastic. I'm glad that Akira Yamaoka isn't doing Silent Hill anymore because he can move on and do better things like Shadows of the Damned, which was my game of 2011. I go back and play that game every so often just to remind myself that games are still fun and not chores. And the fantastic Lollipop Chainsaw, which has Jimmy Urine from Mindless Self-Indulgence, is coming out mid-June. That's something to look forward to. The game's gonna kick ass. And Dan Lynched, Lollipop Lick, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He did a fantastic job scoring the game. I mean, some of the tracks I don't really recall because, you know, I've only played the game enough times to know certain tracks, like the intro Perp Walk, whenever Sewell is walking you through the prison blocks and the mandolin starts playing and you hear Mary Elizabeth in the background. That's just godly brilliant. I couldn't think of the soundtrack being any other way, especially when you're walking through the town. You just hear that I'm not sure what instrument it was. Was it a violin? I don't know. It was just really sharp, and then it toned out. It was brilliant. And it's just I mean, the game deserves so much, but it's lacking because no one these days know what survival horror is, in my opinion. And, well, I'm running out of time, so I'm just gonna cut it here. If anybody watches this and wants to see more, let me know somehow. Send me a message. You can call me a douchebag. You can say you like my video, whatever you want. I don't really care. I really just kind of uploaded this for the sake of the fans who liked the game, so they had something to agree upon anyway. Or to show that not every fan who liked the game is completely biased with the game is amazing. But, you know, I could make more videos later on. I have a lot of things to say, like how Resident Evil 4, if you look at it, it is a traditional Resident Evil game. The camera just changed and everything else remained the exact same until 5 came and, you know, fucked everything up. But I have things like that to say, so just let me know somehow, and I'll make more videos in the future. Bye.